everybody, N65, and today we're going to be watching a creepy horror animation. Without saying any more things, let's just get right into it.
This happened to me in the 1970s. To be exact, it was November 23rd, 1971. I was 20 years old at the time and was really down on my luck. I was living in Portland, but I'm from Seattle, and I'll be going home very soon. I had lost my job and was about to be evicted from my apartment because I couldn't pay the rent. I will be flying back home to stay with my parents until I could find a new job or somehow get the money for my apartment, which would be very unlikely. I had one night left in my apartment before leaving. I didn't feel like staying home, so I decided to go for a walk and have a drink in a bar. On my way to the bar, I stopped at a convenience store and purchased a lottery ticket. I walked down the street and entered a nearby bar, where I ordered myself a beer. Not long after that, a man came inside and sat next to me and ordered a drink. We got to talking about life and just general conversation when he mentioned he was going to a flight the next day to Seattle. I laughed and asked him, "Wait, flight 305? He laughed and said, "Yeah, that's the one." He asked me why I was heading there. I told him I had money troubles, and coincidentally, he said the same thing. He seemed like a nice guy. We talked for about another hour before he decided to call it a night. Unfortunately, I never caught his name. I was about to leave the bar myself shortly after that when I heard over the TV that the lottery numbers would be announced. I decided to stay and check if I had won. Why not? And would you believe it? I won $15,000. Of course, I was beyond belief with shock. And of course, I wouldn't need to go back home because I had money now. The next day, I saw something on the news that a flight had been hijacked and the plane was being held at ransom. It was the same flight I was going to be on. And I couldn't believe it, but the sketch of the guy they described who took the flight hostage was the exact same man I had been talking to in the bar. He used the name D.B. Cooper. If you didn't know, he threatened to explode the plane with a bomb unless he got $200,000, which he did, then jumped out of the plane with the money and parachute and was never seen again. I didn't know why, but I never said anything to anyone. Even if I could, it's not like I knew his real name. It was such a scary coincidence that the only thing that stopped me was the reason why I was in that predicament anyway. I needed money, and then I got some. It's strange how everything works out in life.
Okay. That wasn't very creepy, but It was creepy. It was. Okay. Now we're gonna just watch this one. Wait, no, I wanna watch. Let's watch. Let's just watch this one.
Hi, my name is Adil, and this is a true story.
Okay.
The police have finished this case, and the man is in prison now.
Let's see this.
I was 14 at the time this took place. I was in a school and sitting in a history lesson that was so boring. My friend Noel, who was sitting opposite me, said I could come over on Saturday, as his parents were not going to be there because they were going on a weekend away. That meant we could stay up as long as we wanted. This was not uncommon, as we both invited each other to stay at one another's house, and I thought we were going to have a great time. Saturday came and I was so ready. I packed my essentials like my toothbrush, my new game, and my pepper spray. My parents always made me carry it, and I didn't mind because it made me feel safe too. I went on my way, and 30 minutes later, after walking, arrived to Noel's house. As he opened the door, he looked a little tense and shifty. I walked in and locked the door after me, to which he became even more anxious. I asked him if everything was all right, and he said it was. not trying to put a down on the evening or after me, to which he became even more anxious. I asked him if everything was all right, and he said
What is that smile? That is a smile of a murderer.
it was. Not trying to put a down on the evening, I asked him if we could play the new game I bought. He wasn't really interested, but said yes anyway. After 30 minutes of watching him not playing and just holding the controller in his hand, I switched off the TV and asked him what was going on. To which he replied, "I need your help." I asked him what he needed my help for. He told me that this man who added him on Facebook was actually stalking him in real life, and as to how he wanted to meet Noel. He warned him that if he told his parents, he would kill them. So Noel, being the stupid idiot, he told him to come at 8 p.m., 5 minutes from now. He was scared, so he asked me to come to this meeting to get rid of him, and that if he had told me at school, I never would have agreed to come. He was right. I felt betrayed that he brought me here under false pretenses. I was also angry at his stupidity of him giving his address away as well. However, I had no time to argue. I was just glad he told me about this guy. I grabbed my pepper spray and just sat there on the couch. The doorbell rang at 8 p.m. I just sat there hoping he would leave after a little bit. However, then I started to hear scratching and realized he was breaking in with some sort of tool. I quickly ran into the kitchen with Noel and we heard the door lock get broken and someone kicked the door in. The lights were on and we were hiding behind the large fridge. The man in a deep voice shouted, "Noel!" We didn't reply. And then he shouted, "Noel, where the heck are you? I'm going to kill you." I had a plan. At this point, I pushed Noel out from behind the fridge. Noel started going back, and the man was walking forward, chuckling. As soon as he came near the distance of the fridge, I shot out and sprayed pepper spray in his eyes. He screamed in pain and then started swinging the screwdriver in his hand. I grabbed the screwdriver and picked up a pan laying there and hit him on the head. He blacked out. He was dressed in a smart suit and was clean-shaven. We called the police and later found out that he was a man who was being monitored because there were several complaints of stalking and threatening behavior. They also found many tools in a bag he left near the door that would dismember a body. Thankfully, this sicko didn't kill anyone. However, I'm now happy that Noel called me because I dread to think what would have happened if I wasn't there.
Wow. Wow. Holy hell. Okay. We're going to do one more story because I like these. Okay. The creepy pizza delivery guy. Let's watch this.
My name is Chad, and this story took place when I was about 12. I was at home with my mom since my dad was going to be out all night. 3 of my best friends came to my house for a sleepover party. We sat in my room playing PlayStation and watching TV. Soon, we noticed it was getting pretty dark outside. Mom ordered pizza for dinner, so when the doorbell rang, we knew that the pizza had arrived. When my mom opened...
That's a pretty cool mom. Delivering pizza for dinner? That's
the door, my friends and I were just right next to her because we were pretty hungry at that time. So we waited for her to take her money out and pay for it. The pizza delivery guy seemed like he was in his mid-50s and looked pretty old. While my mother was taking her money out, he looked at us. And all of a sudden, a creepy grin appeared on his face, and his eyes were wide open. It was kind of weird, but we just laughed it off as we didn't think much of it. My mom handed him the money, the pizza guy gave us the pizza, and then left.
Is that Domino's?
We took the pizza into my room and watched Netflix while we were eating it. A few hours passed.
Netflix? Nice.
And my mom came up to our room and said, "It's time for you guys to go to bed. If you need anything, just let me know." My friends brought sleeping bags from their home, So we all got ready to go to bed and lied down. I turned the lights off and went into my bed. We talked to each other for about 45 minutes until it was around 11:45, close to midnight. And we eventually got tired of it. We closed our eyes, not saying a word to one another.
Okay, not very creepy. It'll get creepy, probably.
Later that night, I heard rustling coming from the backyard. It sounded like
And there it is.
someone was walking on a pile of leaves. At first, I thought it was a cat walking around looking for food, as they usually do. However, the next thing I heard was a loud thump. It sounded a lot closer, and like it was hitting my wall. At that time, we already all got up from our spot and heard it. We were so scared to look outside through the window and check what was going on. And then, we saw a hand on the window, lifting it up much higher. We all screamed with fear, and the guy still tried to crawl in. But one of my friends thought much faster. He locked the window, and we all ran out of my room. Then, our house security alarm started going off like crazy. My mom, who was sleeping in her bedroom, came out, turned it off, and asked what was going on. We explained what just happened and looked at the cameras, which were set up outside of our house. There was a guy quietly trying to come down a ladder. I realized the thump on the wall we heard was a ladder. Mom quickly got out her phone and called the police. We locked all of the doors and came back to the monitors to look at the cameras. And we saw the man opened our backyard shed and hid in there. In just a few minutes, the police were already arrived. 3 officers went outside searching for the man, while we gave information to the other officer. We told him that we saw the man going into the shed out in our backyard. One of the police was holding a gun, and the other 2 were approaching closer to the shed. In the blink of an eye, they had entered the shed, found him in the shed hiding, put him in handcuffs to arrest him. They brought him out front and put him in the back of a police car. That time, lots of people heard the noise, came outside to see what was going on. And surprisingly, the cops found some things like a knife, hammer, and others from his pocket. As he was in the back seat of the car, he looked at us and gave us a creepy grin with wide eyes. At first, I couldn't see his face clearly, but when I concentrated on focusing it more visibly, I was shocked. It was the pizza delivery guy. After that, the police handled the situation, so we could go back
I think there's poison in the pizza.
to sleep again that night. I don't know what this guy would have done to us if he had successfully got inside.
Okay, there's not poison in the pizza. Okay, I want to see this one more and then I'm gonna stop recording.
Well, a pleasant way to begin my 3 a.m. shift at Mercy Hospital. The first thing I did as I sat down was cut my finger. It was a paper cut. And despite working at one of the largest hospitals in the state, I couldn't find a single band-aid laying around. I sucked on my index finger like a vampire while I scrambled my desk for that band-aid. I found one. Purple. I'm a hospital receptionist, and all that means is I greet visitors, make appointments, and look nice. Well, as nice as a 30-year-old man who hasn't slept in hours can look. That night, as we call it, it was just me and a few nurses on the floor. Other than that, it was ghost quiet, except for the
On the floor? Suspicious, but okay.
heavy rain. I sat back on the cheap recliner chair all receptionists get the honorary
I don't think that's what he meant. That's
Using
what he meant
what-
on the floor.
adjusting my band-aid. I listened to the television mounted on the corner of the ceiling as it broadcasted a seemingly important message.
Authorities say the woman was last seen on Cedar Avenue.
I looked up to see if the television was showing any images of this strange woman. None. It was yet another crazy person with no name and no face who we were supposed to look out for. Not creepy at all.
Authorities also say the woman was reportedly walking around and asking people very, very bizarre questions.
I focused back on my desk and continued working, but I still listened as the news anchor went on and on. She continued.
The following statement was issued by an unidentified government official.
That's kind of a funny voice.
Listen carefully, folks. Whatever she asks you, answer no. Do not, under any circumstances, answer yes.
Officials won't comment